Here's why 99% of YouTube automation channels actually fail. The thing is, most people when starting out with YouTube automation have no idea what they're actually doing. They're making a bunch of mistakes. And you might be wondering, Warner, tell me, what mistakes could I possibly make? So in this video, I'm gonna give you 5 different mistakes most people are making, and that's the reason they're not seeing any success and they're labeling YouTube automation as something that doesn't work for them. However, with just a little bit of a push in the right direction, they would see fantastic results also with YouTube automation. Mistake number 1 is hiring people or teams on Fiverr. When you see automation gurus on Instagram or Twitter talking about hiring people on Fiverr, they don't actually have real experience. The problem with hiring on Fiverr is because most people actually make videos not just for you. And what's the issue with that, you might ask? Well, the issue with that is that YouTube, when someone else also posted that content, sees it as reused content, which means YouTube won't actually allow you to go ahead and monetize your content, which is why you start YouTube automation most likely in the first place, because your goal is to make as much money as possible, as passively as possible on YouTube. So how do you actually go ahead and make that passive income? Mistake number 2 that people make is that they don't focus on AVD and AVP enough. Just a quick lesson, what is AVD? AVD stands for average view duration. How long someone on average watches your videos. And AVP, almost the same thing. It means average viewed percentage. How long someone on average, in a percentage wise, watches your content. You want to make sure your AVP for almost all kinds of content is higher than 50%. If it's lower than 50%, most likely your story is not good enough. And that pretty much right away brings me to mistake number 3 is bad story writing. As an example, for this channel, all of the content I'm shooting right now is actually done without scripting. There is no script. Everything that I'm telling you right now is done from my head. There's no prompt reader, there's no glass, there's no nothing. I do this because it makes sure that my content is authentic. I don't build my content necessarily to go viral on my personal channel. So if you're thinking, Warner, what can you say about it? You have like 8,000 subscribers. What do you know about faceless YouTube automation? Well, if you look a little bit further on my channel, you actually realize that I've made millions with YouTube automation and that I very clearly understand what works and what doesn't work. So mistake number 3 is simply not having a good storyline, not having a good hook. Most people lose around 30 to 50% of their audience within the first 30 seconds. You want to make sure that is as high as possible. So that immediately includes lesson number 4 or mistake number 4, and that is lying to your audience. When you do heavy clickbaiting or heavy misleading content, you will actually not go viral. I'll explain why. You probably will go viral. You will get a lot of clicks. But people will not watch your content for a very long time, hence you will not be making as much money. So let me explain that in more detail. As an example, the thumbnail says, and the title says, 12 times Mr. Beast almost died, and the intro of the video would say 10 times Mr. Beast almost died, you're having a mistake there. Your title and your thumbnail is not actually correct. So how the audience feels is like they're being lied to. It's like you're a thief. You're stealing time from them. You're stealing and wasting their energy. And if you're doing that, well, very simply, people don't want to watch your content. People will go ahead and click away. If I see such a mistake, let's say at 18 seconds, I will click away, which makes sure that your AVP will actually drop, which is not good. So having a good hook, explaining what the audience can expect in that video and going into the action right away will allow you for a very good AVP. I will show you 2 images. This is a bad AVP and this is a good AVP. I do have to say, with of course everything that I explained, there's always exceptions to rules. As an example, when you post ridiculously long content or some sort of compilation content. Some creator that's doing this very well is called Top Sniper Wolf. She literally compiles all of her old videos into a brand new compilation and publishes it back to YouTube. And because there is a face attached to it, she actually doesn't get demonetized even though this content is completely reused. So she is actually earning over $600,000 per month month from her content. How do I know this? I actually know her RPM is around $18 to $25 because her videos are normally longer than 2 hours. And her watch time, because she's a creator and people are obsessed about her, it is actually really high. So her AVD is really good and her AVP is really good. But as an example, when I make a 3-hour long ASMR compilation, as an example for the slime videos that I make, where literally people do and it gets millions of views, my AVP on an 8-hour video might actually be less than 10%, but yet it still makes money because some people fall asleep with that content. So you'll see a very steep drop off, but it continues for a very long way. And this actually allows me to still earn very good money on my slime videos, which I actually get made completely using AI from scratch. I'll actually go ahead and show you a video of how this content is being generated without human touch. And that's the great part. And then last but not least, mistake number 5. Mistake number 5 is actually not having any patience and not actually learning. So most people, when they're posting content, they're like, okay, I made my video, I hired someone on Upwork, I hired someone on onlinejobs.ph, now it's done. The video is uploaded, now I'm going to get rich. No, that's not true. You want to do good title research. You want to do good topic research. You want to make sure that your thumbnail and title are aligned with each other, as I explained in mistake number 4. If you actually go ahead and upload 100 videos and every single time you'd look at what could have been made better, you would see fantastic results. YouTube automation is not something that is a get rich quick. It is a get rich slow, or as I like to call it, get wealthy slow. Why? With YouTube, we're uploading digital assets that are paying us money every single day. And the more assets that I plant on YouTube, the more money I will be making. So, by doing this, I've made over $6 million, and I'll pop up a bunch of screenshots of the money I've made on multiple channels just for the sake of proving it, because it is YouTube and people want to see proof, and I want to make sure that people don't feel like they're being lied to, as many of these other coaches do, unfortunately. That's why my content is also very raw, because I like to be authentic and I like to be myself. Hence the reason there is, like I said, no teleprompter telling me what to say. I'm saying what I want to say because I understand how to think of YouTube. So, I told you the 5 mistakes so far. Now let me actually give you some tips to get the best possible results. Tip number 1 would be pretty much mistake number 1, and it's not hiring on Fiverr.com. You would hire on Upwork.com or onlinejobs.ph. Onlinejobs.ph is fantastic if you're doing AI content and you're doing storytelling and you're doing mass scalability, because you can hire people full time for as low as $3 per hour when you have the right SOPs in place. Which brings me to tip number 2 is having good SOPs. SOP stands for Standard Operating Procedure. So pretty much your tutorial for someone else to make content based on your instructions. The better your SOPs, the better the systems you use, the higher the scalability of your YouTube automation company. Tip number 3 is see YouTube automation not as a side hustle, but see it as something that could replace your 9 to 5 and something that could actually build you a business and make you money consistently. Tip number 4 would be studying every single video and making sure you also study your competitors. Most people think, okay, my video is good enough, but they might not understand the style in the niche that is actually going viral. And then tip number 4 would be actually replacing niches. And what I call with this is it's called close versus far niching. And that is you take an existing concept and you put it in a different niche. I'll show 2 images. I don't know one out of my head, so I'll just show you 2 images of exactly what's happening here. And you see this is in one niche and the person literally took it to another niche. And now you have 2 viral niches because the concept has been proven to work. So look for stuff that's working and just replace the niche. Then, last tip that I can give you is actually join our free school community. I've uploaded a 3-hour long course that you can actually go ahead and watch with the link down below. And if you're very interested, you can send me coaching on either Twitter or Instagram, or let us also know if you're coming from YouTube. Would very much appreciate it. All my socials are linked down below. Please consider subscribing to this channel. My goal is to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year without uploading shorts on this channel. So if you subscribe, I would very much appreciate it. That being said, I'll try and answer as many questions as possible under this comment section. So also please go ahead and like the video and leave a comment. And I'll see you guys all in the next video. Hope you enjoyed this one.